Bubba Wallace holds on in a nail biter? Let's talk about Indy next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef, bringing you plenty of news and analysis from each race weekend, as well as a couple of tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. Today, we are going to wrap up the Brickyard 400, talk about the race, talk about how Bubba Wallace's win has affected the playoff picture with just 4 races remaining. We'll also give the race a thumbs up or thumbs down. And we'll talk about the Austin Hill Aric Almirola incident from Saturday. And finally, round things out with what I did with my Hoosier sandwich. So let's dive right on into it and talk about that race. Fuel mileage was definitely the name of the game today. As expected, the pit strategies were all over the place and constantly changing, as we saw several tire issues throw a couple of wrenches into the race today. Stage 1 only had one caution kind of early when Michael McDowell got into the back of Ross Chastain and sent him into the turn 3 wall, ultimately ending his day and causing some damage to Michael McDowell, who suffered a tire issue. And then in stage 2, another tire issue came on the heels of a lug nut being loose on the 43 of Erik Jones, my pick for the day, and that cost me big time. He lost that right front tire and hit the wall pretty hard, ending his day as well. Other tire issues throughout the day, as I mentioned, Michael McDowell with one. Austin Cindric and Joey Logano both had tire failures while leading. It wasn't an issue of tire wear necessarily, it was just the teams were playing with the tire pressures. And we've seen throughout this season, if they come out with really aggressive tire pressures on long green flag runs, it can result in a tire failure pretty early in the run. We saw that with Cindric and Logano today. And the 41 also had a right rear tire issue that I thought was going to bring out a caution. And other people on track did too. They jumped the pit road, jumbled up pit strategy yet again, never did really bring out a caution. There were a couple of times when we saw the tire issues happening early in a lap, turn 1, coming off of turn 2, and the cars with the tire issues, had to make their way all the way around. I thought for sure we were going to see more cautions than we did, but we never really did. With 6 laps to go in stage 3, Bubba Wallace holding on to, call it a nail biter, I don't know, a fuel mileage gamble. Wasn't sure if he was going to have enough or not. The booth was definitely talking it up. The top several teams that were contending for the win were all saving fuel and wondering how each other were looking on that fuel. And with 6 to go, rain hits turn 1. Not the whole track, thankfully. We didn't lose the entire track, and they were able to get things dried up. We only had a red flag of 25 minutes, so not bad, at least we didn't have to wait several hours for them to get this race resumed. But once they did, the question was Bubba Wallace going to be able to have enough fuel to hold on for, let alone one overtime, but the possibility of a second? And we definitely got that second. Zane Smith got turned on the backstretch hard into the outside wall, and he was turned by Christopher Bell making a pretty aggressive move. I don't know where Bell was going. He just straight up swiped Smith and put him in the wall. And Tyler Reddick got collected on that. So that was overtime 1. And the question again remained, was Bubba Wallace going to have enough to hold on to the end? He was told by his pit crew, you need the pit when the pit opens on that second overtime, and he didn't. He stayed out. William Byron also in a similar situation, and that actually affected him there. He did run out on the last lap. William Byron fell from 3rd to 16th as a result of running out of fuel there on the last lap. Somehow, Bubba was able to hold off Kyle Larson. I don't think there was really much of a battle there on that final restart. He just had a good jump and got out in front, and clean air is king, especially on single groove tracks such as this with this next gen car. So wasn't too much of a thrilling finish by any means, and that's why I kind of put a question on it being a nail biter. So taking a look here at the top 12 finishing, no surprise to see Larson and Hamlin up front, even with Hamlin having to go to a backup car. Joe Gibbs Racing said that they spent 7.5 hours getting that backup car together for him, and he drove from the back to the front and stayed up there all race. Definitely impressed with RFK Racing today. They, in the crazy pit strategies, were able to work their way forward all day, and we see Priest and Keselowski and even Busher have a good day, not necessarily a good finish. Josh Berry, I thought, was going to have a good finish. I guess he ran out of fuel there at the end. What does Bubba's win do for the playoffs? Well, let's take a look at the picture here, and as we can see, obviously it puts Bubba in with the win, and now leaves just 3 spots remaining available with Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, and now Chris Busher is on the cut line with his teammate Ryan Preece right there below it. A difference there of 42 points, so a pretty big gap to make up. But with 4 races remaining, we've got Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. We can absolutely see somebody from outside of the bubble get a win here in the last 4 races. Watkins Glen could be a wild card for sure. Obviously, Busher won there last year. Maybe he could repeat. And we all know Daytona there at the end of the regular season will be a wild card. So let's put a wrap on Indy today and give this a thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, guys. Well, to be quite honest with you, I had my mind made up pretty quickly in stage 3. This was a thumbs down. There was just no passing today. The racing today was all about strategy. And man, that gets kind of dull. I knew that this was going to be a race of long green flag runs. And that's just, the way Indy has always been. It's always been a long, drawn-out race. But this one in particular, it wasn't all that interesting to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a flat thumbs down. Were there elements of today's race that were good? Yeah, there were a couple moments today. It was impressive to see Denny Hamlin work his way forward. It was definitely impressive to see the strategies play out with everybody taking a chance, it seemed like. But like I said, the on-track product wasn't all that interesting, and it got boring. I had to get up a couple of times and walk around the house just to keep myself going. And I'm glad the red flag didn't last all that long, only about 25 minutes. So it could have been a whole lot worse. It could have been maybe a second thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave an emoji of a thumbs up or thumbs down with a comment or two as to what drove you to that decision. I am keeping a running tab of this throughout the season, and as you can see, this is where we stand right now. So far, so good on the season. I'll let you know each week how this continues to tally up. I really do appreciate all of your input. It gives us a big, broader picture of what us fans feel about each race, each weekend, and how we feel about the season overall. So thank you again for participating in Thumbs Up or Thumbs Down. As we head out of Indianapolis on our way to Iowa, I suspect we are going to be hearing some news this week about a possible suspension for Austin Hill. If you did not see it on Saturday during the Xfinity race, towards the end of the race with about 10 laps to go, Austin Hill kind of got shoved, ruffled, got the air taken off the back of him by Aric Almirola. I personally kind of saw Almirola's move as a little bit dirty and kind of expected. Quite honestly, guys, I don't like Almirola. I don't know what he's doing in the Xfinity series anymore. He's just kind of acts like a bully on the track. So when Austin Hill retaliated, which it definitely looks like a retaliation, you could see the gloves turn left. If you look at it, if you look at the replays in regular speed, you could make the argument for sure that he was still struggling to hold on to the car and that it was still squirrely on him. And that was what he used as his defense almost immediately after the wreck happened. But when you slow it down and zoom in, you can definitely see he's making an abrupt turn to the left, and the gloves are very obvious. If anybody has learned anything from Carl Edwards back in the late 90s, don't wear bright gloves if you're going to right hook somebody, right? It looked bad for sure. What made it look worse for Austin Hill was his F-bomb laden rant after he received a 5-lap penalty for reckless driving and was forced to sit on pit road for the end of the race. I thought for sure he was just going to park it, get out of the car, and like drop double birds on the start finish line or something like that. He seemed that upset about it. And then kind of like what added a little bit of salt to all of this and just, I don't know, rubs me as a fan definitely the wrong way is the way that Richard Childress responded as he was walking away to Jordan Bianchi. Childress made a comment to the effect of NASCAR is always coming after him and his blue-collar team. Well, RC, you own a winery, you own several NASCAR teams, multiple jets, multiple buildings, all sorts of property. You're far removed from blue collar there, buddy. I kind of find that comment laughable. Your driver, Austin Hill, bought his way in. I don't really look at him as a blue collar person anymore. And your grandsons, who have gotten to the highest level of NASCAR, have definitely done that on your coattails. So no blue collar there either. I don't know, just an offhand comment. We'll definitely see on Tuesday some sort of penalty be handed down to Austin Hill, whether monetary or race suspension or something. I think NASCAR is definitely going to address that with a penalty. Remember, there is a new rule in place that if he does receive a suspension, he's going to lose all of his playoff points. He won't lose his playoff eligibility necessarily, but all of those points that he's earned will be stripped. And remember, he's got 3 wins on the season, so that's at least 15 playoff points right there. Finally, before we put a bow on Indianapolis, I do want to shout out to my new friends down under who keep commenting on Racin-n-Braisin and watching this channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I'm going to make it a point now to highlight how SVG does every week because, hey, I like SVG just as much as you guys. Like I said, I think he's a great addition to the sport. He had his best oval qualifying effort this weekend of 11th and had a great day, stayed within the top 20 all day long, kept his nose clean, stayed out of trouble. He actually avoided a wreck, and I thought just had a very smart day. So kudos to SVG. And again, thank you guys down under for joining me here on Racin-n-Braisin. Before I wrap things up today, I do want to talk with you guys about my Hoosier sandwich this weekend. If you caught the short earlier today, you know I had that ready in time for the start of the Brickyard 400. And boy, that is a delicious sandwich. I could certainly see myself eating that often if I lived in the Midwest region. That was really good. I pounded out thin pork chop, just like you guys saw me do with the Jaeger Schnitzel several weeks ago. This time I did a triple breading with a coating of all-purpose flour and cornstarch and a little bit of salt and pepper, of course, for seasoning. I just alternated between egg wash and the flour cornstarch. And then for my cook, this time I went along and used my fryer. Broke that guy out, put some peanut oil in it, got it heated up to 340 degrees, and then dropped the tenderloins directly into the oil and cooked for 5 minutes. I flipped it over at about 2.5 minutes just to make sure that both sides were evenly cooked and bathed in the oil, and let them rest for about 2 minutes or so before putting them on a Kaiser bun with a nice thick slice of fresh tomato from here in the garden and a slab of mayo to go along with it. And boy, that was delicious. So hope you guys caught that short and hope you enjoyed the couple of shots that I have here for you of my cook of the Hoosier sandwich. That thing is delicious. I highly recommend it if you ever have a chance to try it. So that does it for me here today. I will see you guys on Thursday with a preview of Iowa coming up next. Until then, guys, stay happy.